transport in cells. Active transport. Active transport is a process that allows cells to move substances in a direction that would not happen naturally. In diffusion, particles move from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. In active transport, particles move from an area of low concentration to an area of high concentration. Because this movement goes against the natural direction, the cell must use energy. This energy comes from respiration. So the definition you must remember is this. Active transport is the movement of particles from a lower concentration to a higher concentration using energy. How substances move using active transport. Cells use active transport when they need to take in important substances, even when there are very few of them outside. This is especially important in situations where diffusion would not work. For example, if there are more particles inside the cell than outside, diffusion would push them out. Active transport allows the cell to still take them in. Active transport in plant roots. Plants absorb water and mineral ions from the soil. Water enters the root cells by osmosis. Mineral ions enter by active transport. This is because the concentration of mineral ions is often lower in the soil than inside the root cells. If the plant relied on diffusion, minerals would move out of the root instead of into it. So, active transport is essential for plant survival. Structure of root hair cells. Root hair cells are specially adapted for absorption. They have a long, thin shape that increases surface area. A larger surface area means more space for substances to enter. They also contain many mitochondria. This provides the energy needed for active transport. Why plants need mineral ions? Plants need mineral ions for healthy growth. They use these ions to make important substances such as proteins and chlorophyll. Without enough minerals, plants grow poorly and may become weak or discolored. Active transport in humans. Active transport also happens in the human body. In the small intestine, glucose is absorbed into the blood. Sometimes there is a lower concentration of glucose in the gut than in the blood. Diffusion cannot move glucose into the blood in this situation. Active transport is used instead to move glucose into the bloodstream. This ensures that the body gets enough energy. Why glucose is important? Glucose is used in respiration. Respiration releases energy for cells. Without glucose, cells cannot function properly. Comparing diffusion, osmosis, and active transport. Diffusion is the movement of particles from high concentration to low concentration. It does not require energy. Osmosis is the movement of water from a high concentration of water to a low concentration of water through a partially permeable membrane. It does not require energy. Active transport is the movement of particles from low concentration to high concentration. It requires energy. Exchange surfaces. Living organisms must exchange substances with their environment in order to survive. These substances include oxygen, carbon dioxide, nutrients, and waste products. Surface area to volume ratio. The size of an organism affects how easily it can exchange substances. Small organisms have a large surface area compared to their volume. This allows substances to move in and out easily. Large organisms have a smaller surface area compared to their volume. This makes exchange more difficult. Why large organisms need systems. In large organisms, diffusion alone is not fast enough. Humans need specialised systems such as lungs for gas exchange, blood vessels for transport. These systems ensure that all cells receive the substances they need. Features of efficient exchange surfaces. Good exchange surfaces have a large surface area so more substances can move at once. Thin walls so substances travel a short distance. A good blood supply to maintain concentration differences. Movement of air or water to keep fresh supplies available. Examples of exchange surfaces. In humans, alveoli in the lungs allow oxygen to enter the blood and carbon dioxide to leave. In the small intestine, villi increase the surface area for absorbing nutrients. In plants, leaves allow gases to enter and leave through stomata. In fish, gills allow oxygen to move from water into the blood. Question and answer section. Question. What is active transport? Answer. Active transport is the movement of particles from a lower concentration to a higher concentration using energy. Question. Why do root hair cells use active transport? Answer. Because the concentration of mineral ions is lower in the soil than inside the cells, so diffusion would not work. Question. What is the function of root hair cells? Answer. To absorb water and mineral ions from the soil. Question. Why do plants need mineral ions? Answer. They need them for healthy growth and to make substances such as proteins and chlorophyll. Question. How is glucose adsorbed into the blood in the gut? Answer. By active transport, when the concentration is lower in the gut than in the blood. Question. What is the difference between diffusion and active transport? Answer. Diffusion does not require energy and moves particles from high to low concentration, while active transport requires energy and moves particles from low to high concentration. Question. Why do large organisms need exchange systems? Answer. Because their surface area to volume ratio is small and diffusion alone is too slow. Question. Give two features of efficient exchange surfaces. Answer. Large surface area and thin walls. Question. Why are alveoli effective for gas exchange? Answer. Because they have a large surface area, thin walls, and a good blood supply.